And hello again, YouTube. Once again, PRR 4800 coming to you. Today we're going to take a tour of the Virginia Museum of Transportation located in Roanoke, Virginia, right in the heart of the city. The facility has probably 50 locomotives, automobile exhibits, a gift shop, and it's worth visiting if you're ever in the area. So thanks for joining me.
All right, YouTube, here we are. Virginia Museum of Transportation, Roanoke, Virginia. And this is the world famous GG1 right here. Gives you an idea where my YouTube channel name came from. 4800 was the first GG1 ever constructed by the Pennsylvania Railroad. This is one of the preserved models here. Take a walk down, take a look at this thing. And behind it we have an E33. Many a day and night along the northeast corridor in Arbutus, Maryland, Halefort, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. I did catch these beauties in action. It's quite the locomotive. These GG1s were famous. Now these E33s, these were fascinating locomotives as well. Started out with the Virginian Railway, went to the New Haven, then they came over to probably Penn Central. I don't know that Pennsylvania Railroad was still in existence when these guys came on board. But there's a peak. Two vintage electric locomotives, among my favorites. A nice up close of the leading truck on this thing. And here we'll take a look at the placard. "79 feet 6 inches long, 15 feet high, 10 feet 4 inches wide." They came in at 475,000 pounds, 4,620 horsepower, with a tractive effort of 70,700. They were rated, depending on how they geared for passenger, they were 100, 110 mile an hour. There goes something. Some light power. Sorry folks, got distracted there. For freight, these guys maxed out at about 90 miles an hour. We come around and get a look at good look at the front end. Beside me here is a Virginian steam locomotive, another static display here at the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia. Definitely, if you're passing through, it's worth a visit. They have a section in there with vintage automobiles, plane parts, O-gauge model railroad. See if we can catch some live action here in a minute. There's an interesting looking industrial locomotive. I'll have to do my research when I get back home and determine what this is. I don't see any placards, and I'm not as current or as well versed as I used to be. Stroll over here. Some coaches, some of 611's coaches. All right, here's Norfolk Western 1218. This locomotive is an absolute beast. This thing's world famous as well. Let me get around here. You can get a look at the drive wheels on this thing. Okay, double drivers. There's the pilot. 2, 6 drive wheels. Valve assembly. Okay, so there's your 6 drive wheels. You come back, there's another cylinder and valve assembly and 6 more drive wheels. And then the trailing truck back here. Truck as in not fire truck to my right, but this mechanism here. So 1218 was one of their heavy coal haulers back in the day, Norfolk Westerns, which eventually became Norfolk Southern. You get around here. Now I'm going by memory here. I don't remember what the tractive effort of this thing was. Let's take a walk up here, get a look. So here we are. Here's a look at the cab. What's left of it. 70-inch drivers. Look at that beast. Turn around. Here's the tender. This is where the coal would come in. That spiral thing you see there is the stoker or the feeder that would automatically feed coal into the locomotive firebox. The fireman was never going to keep up with this thing firing it manually. Or if he did, what a beast. There's a old Wabash diesel locomotive. You go down these steps. Easy does it. You just walk along and enjoy looking at some of this vintage equipment. Now this second unit back here, this is a B unit. B unit designated as cabless. So this is an A unit because it would be manned that had a cab. This B unit here, there is no cab. Now, we're coming back to the pride of the fleet. Can you say 611? Huh? There she is. There she is. Resting peacefully. We got her under cover. Take a minute. Enjoy that view. They've been running this thing on steam excursions. She's a sight to see when she's under steam. She is truly a sight to see, a sight to behold. Fans flock from near and far to witness this thing and to ride behind it. And they've got her undercover, fortunately. Well, after the restoration, I wouldn't expect anything less, quite frankly. They did an extensive restoration on her. So this gives you a view of 611, her tender. We'll come on back. Here's her auxiliary tender. Again, folks, if you've never been to the Virginia Museum of Transportation, Roanoke, Virginia, I highly recommend it. It's a worthwhile stop off. All kinds of vintage equipment here. Old Southern coach, the lineage or the heritage of which I'm not certain. Definitely showing some wear and tear. The William G. Claytor Jr. W. Graham Claytor Jr. He was a big railroader. If you don't know that name, here. Here's a crane. Obviously used for derailments, etc. Is it pretty hefty? Man, look at this old thing. Woo. Lord. Ooh. Old Conrail locomotive out of Collinwood. I don't know the history of this thing. I'll have to do some research when I get home. And here's another crane. I don't think this thing's used anymore. Obviously in a state of disrepair. But now this beast over here. Here's the business end. Let's say they still use her. And then lurking back there is one of the excursion coaches. And here's a vintage snowcat. Use these things on the ski slopes. This thing is not unlike the snowcat I used to drive when I worked for the Olympic Authority in Lake Placid, New York. Up and down Whiteface Mountain. Not sure where they used that thing down here. Let's take a spin around here. Interesting looking little relic, antique. Here's a vintage bus. Alexandria, Barcroft and Washington Transit Company. For you vintage bus fans. Going up here. Now, this is one off unedited, so nothing I'm doing here right now is scripted. And take a look at this thing. Front end, cracked windshield, unfortunately. But here's another one. This is an older one. Let me wait for this gentleman to get done taking some pictures up here. And then we'll go up. Here's a look. This is a good looking bus. Mac. I don't know the exact year. I remember as a little kid in Baltimore, I'm talking in the early 60s, as the streetcars were being phased out. I can remember riding on these. And then of course, got this specimen here. I reckon this is a school bus. I can't tell you I've been around and rode on one of these. But here it is in the museum. Just another part of the collection. So there's an overview of the Robert B. Claytor and William Graham Claytor Jr. Pavilion. Some really great vintage equipment out there. Now we're gonna go back into the museum here and take a look at some of the displays. This particular piece over here in the Schuler collection, this thing is constructed, hand-built, and it is all brass. If you take a look at the workmanship on this thing, okay, absolutely amazing, the craftsmanship and the amount of work that went into this item. Get up here. These are just some of the items on display on the interior. And there's a little sheet that explains this thing. I'll give you a moment, you can read it. It's a 1-inch scale model live steamer. If you've never seen one of these things in action, do a little research, get out to your local live steamer club and check it out. These things are a sight to behold. So this is one of the displays here at the museum. Various ship models on display here. If you visit the museum, make sure you come in here and take a look around. You might find something of interest. They've got all sorts of items for kids all the way up to adults. Now we're just taking a walk here. All right, now we're heading into the section with the automobiles. This is a airplane they have overhead. Now, straight ahead is the O-gauge model railroad. Pretty cool. Let's see if we get a train coming around here. He's in there somewhere. There we go. There we go. Let's follow this guy around. We're going into the tunnel. Maybe come out over here. There he is. There we go. All right, now we're in the section with the vintage automobiles. And I'm not going to reel them off as they are. They all have a placard. However, I'll do a slow walk by and you can get a view of each one. There are many, many classics here. And if you're in town, I highly recommend you visit this place. You don't have to be a train fan or a car fan. There's a little bit of something for everybody. Some car experts might recognize some of these right off the bat now. I'm going to make a U-turn here, and some of these are a dead giveaway. A couple of muscle cars. Come on down here. There, old Studebaker. Wonder what that has under the hood, huh? How about that? All right. And look at this beauty right here. This Plymouth. Huh? Look at that Cutlass.